Hey guys, what's up? It's Lexi. I'm just doing this video in the car real quick. So today I'm going to be talking about my story, how I got into drugs. I'm going to be talking about the person that got me into drugs, and that very same person pretty much got me hooked to keep me around. And then he slowly but surely became my stalker. Hope you guys liked the video. Let's get right into it. So this story starts when I was really young. I was always a really depressed kid. I had a lot of mental illness issues from the jump. I definitely dealt with a lot of trauma, a lot of physical, mental, emotional abuse. I started smoking weed, drinking. I quickly got into pills. I was hanging around with a lot of people at school that were kind of doing the same thing. I started getting into Nas, ketamine, and then everyone started with the Vicodin, the Norcos, the Somas, the fucking Xanax. I was doing all of it. Give me all of it. The thing that I favored most was definitely Norco and Vicodin. That was like my high. But somehow I was able to get it together, and I was able to get a job at a sales marketing place. So I was 17 at the time. It was just a place where I think it was telemarketing for like SEO, websites, things like that. I was doing really well there for a while. I wasn't doing pills as much. So real quick about Dennis. Dennis at the time, he's like 25, 26. He's this white guy. He was really cute. At the time, he was clean. He had gone out of rehab, and then he had gotten this job right after. He was doing really well. He was like well off, and he drove a blue, should I say the type of car? He drove a blue car. It's the type of car that if you saw that car, you'd be like, oh, okay, that's him. After a little while of me and Dennis hanging out, we did hang out with other people. He ended up relapsing. I started kind of slowly getting back into doing pills because he had them all the time and he'd give them to me for free. So I'm like, this is cool, this is fun. I don't have a problem, you know, like I'm not doing them every day. Like a month goes by where I'm doing pills consistently and I'm only getting them from him. I just turned 18. Well, one day I needed them really bad. I was telling him, hey, what's going on? Where are you? And he's like, hey, I can't get any. The girl that usually has them, she does not have any. I can't find anybody. But I do have something that will make you feel better. Me being fucking dumb and not feeling good, I go over there. He has. So I smoke some. I tell him I don't want to do this all the time. I kind of want to like start kicking the pills. He says, yeah, that's fine, but he still wants to hang out. Well, surprise, surprise, like a month later, we're still doing this. Not only was I doing one that he was already giving me, but he would come over at lunch and he'd smoke me out then too. So we were hanging out more and more. I noticed that he would do like little things now. He would buy me lunch. He bought me a pair of shoes, a backpack, some sandals, and then these really, really nice expensive shoes that I told him about. I never told him like, I want you to buy these. Once he started buying me things, he felt more comfortable giving me money. He was paying my bills. He had no issue with it. I never one time asked for it. He would just hand it over. And I'm not gonna say no. So after this, that's when he started getting a little weird. I'd be sitting in the car with him and you could see him like slowly like trying to reach over and like grab my thigh, or he'd try to hold my hand, and I never let him. I was like, no. He knew that I wasn't down, you know? This one day, he casually asked me if I want to go on a trip to Santa Barbara with him. It's not just gonna be us, it's gonna be his friend and her kids. I was like, hell yeah, why not? Let's go. He says that he's gonna come pick me up at this certain time, be ready. So I do. I'm all ready, I got my luggage ready, but I'm not anywhere near my house. I didn't really want anyone at this point to know where I live, but I sit there and I wait for him. He comes, he picks me up, and then as soon as we get there, he tells me that his friend will not be joining us. It's just gonna be him and I. Of course, we're gonna share a room. We go into the room and there's one fucking bed. I don't think I would have gone on this trip anyway, even if there's other people coming, if I knew that he was gonna try to make me feel uncomfortable. But he does. We're sitting down, we're chilling, and he keeps asking me if I want to do. Kept telling him no, And finally he just breaks down. He's like, I will pay you a certain amount of money if you let me eat you out. First off, ew. I just turned 18. He had known me when I was 17. I kept saying no, I'm not doing it. I don't want anything to do with that. So he needs to fucking stop or I'm leaving. After that, he said he's never going to say something like that again. He's sorry. He will get another room and I can stay in this one. He doesn't want to make me feel uncomfortable and he just doesn't want me to leave. So after that, we're cool. I was like, all right, fine. Just don't ever make me feel like that again. So he's buying me this, he's buying me that. Everything's cool. The night before, we're about to leave and go back home. I start packing all my stuff. He tells me, don't pack up just yet. I got us another day. That trip was fun and all, but I wanted to go home. I was sick and tired of this dude. I'm like, no, I want to go. So we're gonna go. This dude literally fought with me about leaving. I start tripping out. I'm like, oh my God. I was just thinking the worst, you know? Like, he made me feel so fucking creepy. We're leaving? Or I'm taking a cab home. He finally gave in. He said, please don't waste any money on a cab. We will go home tomorrow, I promise. So we do. I get back home and I am pissed. I am upset. I don't feel comfortable with this dude anymore. I don't trust him and I just ignore him. I'm not gonna talk to him anymore. So a few days later, after that big fight with him, I realized that it was starting to get really bad. I really didn't know anyone else, so I was kind of lost. I was like, fuck, well now what do I do? So of course, I go and I call him. After that, we end up making up and I'm trying to think of a plan. I'm like, I need to get this connect's number. Like, I need other people so I don't have to keep counting on him. He knew what he was doing. He knew that he had me hooked and I had nowhere else to go, so that I was gonna keep calling him back. Slowly start pushing him, like, hey, I want to hang out with your friends, I want to meet your people. So finally, he introduces me to a friend. This is a girl that lived kind of close to me. She was like his main plug. And I was able to get her number. I was like, yes, I'm in the clear. I don't have to count on this dude anymore. To be completely honest, I think he kind of knew that, but he didn't say anything about it. He's just like, whatever. He was starting to get real heavy, like weird, clingy. He would call me all the time. And I have to add, he used to fucking have his mom call him and he would beg her to have her invite me to the house. The mom loved me, she did, but she would be like, oh honey, you have to come over next week, please, Monday, let's do this again. So I'd be like, and we'd get back in the car, he'd be like, so now you have to come Monday, you know that, right? Again, we were working together at this certain job. He was no longer working there. He had gone to the point where he would nod off at work, he was doing really bad, and he ended up getting fired. I was still at that job, but I was starting to slack. I was starting to get sloppy. There's rumors going around. Supposedly, I still don't know if this is true or not. There's pictures and videos of me nodding out while I'm trying to work. I was also calling out a lot because when I didn't have the money, I couldn't go into work. So I do end up cutting him off for a little bit. So now that he knew that I didn't really need him for his connect anymore, he started using money to get me to come back. So he'd call me like, hey, come on Lex, just come over, we can hang out, we can have dinner, I could give you some money, like just come hang out. And I was calling out so much, I didn't have the extra money. I was like, fuck, all right, yeah. So I get dropped off at his apartment. First thing he does is give me money. And then after, he starts begging me, like on his knees, please Lexi, I will pay you. Just let me eat you out. Fucking weirdo. I thought we were over this. No, it's not gonna happen. I don't want to do it. He doesn't stop. I tell him, okay, if you continue, I will grab my shit and I'm leaving and I will never talk to you again. He continued, so I'm like, all right, grab my shit. I called a cab and I left. The next day, I'm driving to work. And as I'm coming up, I'm about to turn in and I see his fucking car in my parking lot. Instantly, I'm freaked out. I'm scared. So I quickly call my boss. I'm like, hey, look, I'm sick. I'm not feeling good. I can't come in. I don't end up coming in for like 2-3 days. Not to mention, dude is still calling me. He's still blowing me up. So I go back a few days later, looking around before I turn in. I don't see him in the parking lot. I'm like, cool. But then I look across the street and he's parked behind a tree. I remember this vividly. His chair was like pulled back so he could lay down, and he was in there sleeping. Meaning, he probably was in there waiting for a long fucking time. I was so afraid that he was gonna see me that I instantly left. I just kept going. I called my coworker. I'm like, hey, look, I'm parking down the street. Come pick me up. I'll explain everything when you get here. So he picks me up. I tell my friend what's going on. If I want to call the cops, we definitely can. I'm like, no, I don't want to do all that. That's fine. Let's just go. I think what he was trying to do, he was just going to go up to my car and just sit there and wait until I came out so I could talk to him. But I knew for a fact that he did not have the balls to come into my work, which I felt safer about. But still, I knew if I came in my car that he was going to try to sit there and park and be like, Lex, let me talk to you, you know? So I didn't even want to risk it. So I had my friend come pick me up and take me to work for the next few days. So after a few days of this one weekend, I'm feeling frisky, I'm feeling fun. I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to go out tonight. I get dressed, doing my thing, and I walk out to my car. I look down at my car and I notice that something is hanging from underneath it. Something that I've never seen there before. I'm nervously like looking around, like seeing if anybody's there. I don't see his car, I don't see him. So I quickly go under, I grab it, and sure enough, it's a fucking tracker. I'm shitting bricks. He didn't know exactly where I lived. He knew what my car looked like. My car was parked right in front of my house, and the time that he did pick me up, I was maybe like 2 blocks away and down the street. There's no way that tracker was there before, because I would have definitely noticed it. He had to have put it on the night before that. So of course I take it, I haul ass to the freeway, I chuck that bitch out the window. I get off the freeway, and maybe 10 minutes later of me driving, I get a bunch of calls. They're just blowing me up from a private number. Obviously, it's fucking Dennis. The next time that he calls back, I finally answer the phone and I go the fuck off. I am pissed. I'm like, dude, don't ever fucking come to my house again. What the fuck is wrong with you? I went off. I'm like, don't ever fucking contact me again. I told you I'm done with you. You've done enough damage in my life. I'm done. So after that, there's maybe 3 to 4 days where I stopped seeing him at my work. I stopped getting phone calls. The neighbor that I had at the time has cameras all over his house. So he would always catch shit and he'd always let me know what was going on. He hits me up one night. He's like, hey, I don't know if you've noticed, but there is a blue car that's been creeping around the neighborhood, and then he parks down the street, comes, and he walks to your house. Now, I'm not a cop caller, but this motherfucker was starting to scare me. I even ended up getting back together with my ex because I felt so unsafe. I felt better that I had somebody else there with me. I really felt like this dude was gonna kill me. My neighbor tells me like a day or two later, like, hey, haven't seen the car, haven't seen the guy. I'm like, cool. I notice I'm not getting any calls anymore and I don't see his car at work anymore. So I'm like, cool. And then his mom calls me and she's telling me that he's in jail. Of course, I'm like, well, why is he in there? She completely ignores my question and she starts going on and on and on about how he's so in love with me. He thinks you're the one. He wants to marry you. He wants to have kids with you. She tells me to give him a chance. Even if I only take one call from him, just one chance. I'm kind of thinking about it because in a way I did want closure from him. He did do a lot for me. He did help me out a lot, but at the same time, he really fucked some shit up for me. So I'm like, I want the closure. I want the closure. Yes, he can call me. She's able to get money on my phone, and the next day he calls. I'm like, why the fuck are you in jail? Like, what happened? I knew, but I wanted him to tell me. He was obviously doing a lot of sketchy stuff. That's why he had a lot of money all the time. Of course, had a bunch of other charges, none of my business. And then he starts with I love you, I'm in love with you, you don't understand how you make me feel. Never felt this way about a woman before. I will never, ever give you a chance, dude. Do you not understand how uncomfortable you made me feel? You pushed and pushed and pushed. You ignored my boundaries. Like, he was horrible. He was not even a good friend. We talked for a while. After that, the phone was gonna click off. I said goodbye. He said his goodbye. And I told him that after this, if he does get out, I don't want to see him again. I don't want him to contact me again. It's been close to 10 years that this has happened. He has not contacted me. Thank goodness. I have no idea what he's doing now. So yeah, that's my crazy story, my little stalker story, and how I got started on heroin. Hope you guys like it. I always say I have a lot more videos. I have a whole list of them. And if you do like the video, consider subscribing, leaving a little comment, leaving a like if you want. If you don't have to. That's totally fine. Either way, if you watch the whole thing, thank you. I love you. I will see you next time. Remember, stay out of trouble. It's not worth it. It's not fun. Stay home. Okay? Love you. Bye.